So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Berman. So you're the founder and director of the Quiet Mind Foundation in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And you're
That is true.
Yes, and you're also a neuropsychophysiologist.
That's the big word.
Yes, it is a big word. So for viewers that are new to this channel, do you want to tell us a little bit about your work and why you're so passionate about it?
Well, Suvi, thank you for having me back. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you.
We had a great time last time.
Yes, we did.
Our work started around the idea of being able to identify particular approaches to treating neuropsychological, neuropsychiatric, and neurodegenerative conditions.
Yeah.
But we were interested in finding ways to do that did not involve invasive procedures or drug treatment.
Yeah.
There were plenty of drug treatments involved in psychiatry, and we saw that there were real limitations to their effectiveness, especially in terms of side effects. So we were looking for more natural is kind of too broad a word, but I mean more non-invasive approaches that had the ability to be studied and demonstrated scientifically that they were in fact effective in many of the same ways you might test a drug treatment, but instead of it being something like a drug, it would be something like, in our case, biofeedback. So we started looking at how biofeedback could be used as a way to modify brain activity, especially in relation to certain behaviors that were associated with diagnoses like attention deficit disorder, depression, anxiety, generalized anxiety, and dementia, memory loss. So when we started to see that, in fact, you could measure the effect of biofeedback training on people with these various conditions and demonstrate real statistically significant improvement in very short periods of time with minimal side effects or no side effects, it was like, oh, this is great. When we started looking at the dementia and we saw that we could, in fact, alter the slope of decline, but that biofeedback in and of itself was not really addressing like the underlying biological neurodegenerative disorder, right? Because it was training the electrical activity in the brain, not the underlying biological degenerative process. So while it was a good thing, it wasn't solving the whole problem. So that's when we started to learn about brainwave stimulation, brain stimulation using infrared light. And that's when we met this is what I showed last time.
Yes.
Remember Darth Vader meets Doctor Who, right? So we started studying the 1070 nanometer infrared light, and we found, much to our surprise and happiness, that in fact you could see changes in memory and cognitive functioning and motor functioning simply by putting the light into the brain for a short period of time, but on a regular basis. Well, that was great. So that's when we realized that if we were to combine the light stimulation with the biofeedback, that we would have a more potent intervention than either one of them by themselves.
Yeah.
So that's when we came up. That's why we came up with the Neuradiant.
Yeah.
You seeing that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. It's a new updated version, isn't it? So it's got more features than the original. Is that right?
Yeah. So this one is the new kind of next generation
Yeah.
of the technology that we've been developing.
Yeah.
But it has the 1070 nanometer LEDs inside, but it also has a controller box that will allow us to control the delivery of the light stimulation itself.
Yeah.
So we can use a controller box.
Oh, that's great.
This is the controller for the device. So what I can then show, you'll pause here, and then so
Oh, wow. That's great.
So what you're seeing in terms of the colors are the 4 quadrants of the brain.
Wow.
So what we can now do is independently stimulate the left, the right, the front, and the back of the brain at any pulse frequency that we want.
That's great.
For any amount of time that we want and at any intensity that we want, so that we can differentially influence brain activity based on what we would want to see happen.
That's fantastic. That sounds so fantastic.
So that allows us to begin the process of integrating the biofeedback with the photobiomodulation. So the light will influence the tissue, and it will also stimulate the brain EEG to produce whatever pulse frequency we deliver at that part of the brain. The brain will start to then generate that particular frequency. There's a recent study that shows that the 1070 nanometer light produces a significantly higher level of oxygenated hemoglobin.
Great.
And also cytochrome C oxidase, which is that's the part of the mitochondria.
Yeah.
So when you increase cytochrome C oxidase, you are increasing the output potential of the mitochondria. So you're boosting the available ATP or energy from the cells.
Yeah.
And the 1070 nanometer light significantly improved the output of those things compared to the usual 810.
Yeah.
So we now, and this is an independent study done at another university in biomedical engineering in Texas, that we had nothing to do with.
Yeah, right. When was this study conducted?
A couple of months ago. I've got it here. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you.
Please do. Please do. That's genuinely exciting, because that's a real advancement. Because we do know that we just need to keep studying what wavelengths are going to be the best and give us the best improvements. Oh, great. Yeah, I can see that on the screen. That's fantastic.
Okay. So
that's obviously the science behind this new updated device, the Neuradiant 1070. Yeah, as opposed to, that's exciting. I think that's an exciting advancement, because one of the issues with red light therapy research or photobiomodulation research is trying to get those wavelengths that are going to give us the best outcomes. And that's still a work in progress, isn't it? We're still.
Well, I mean, we're happy. We're certainly glad that we were able to make the case for 1070.
Yes.
And that other people followed through,
yeah,
on it. And now we can now collaborate with the people in Texas,
Yeah.
and they are now purchasing one of these.
Yeah.
But they're also getting one of these that's been retrofitted with the 810.
Oh, right. Okay.
So now we can do an actual comparison
Oh, right.
on real people.
Sure. So you can, yeah, sure. Yep. Could it be possible that one wavelength is going to suit someone better and another wavelength is going to suit someone else better, do you think? Or do you think it'll be pretty standard that once we find the best one, it will be the best one for brains?
I think it'll probably be that there may be different biological effects,
yeah,
in different windows.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that the effects of the range between 1060 and 1080 are going to be different than the 660 or the 800, 900, 950, things like. I think that's going to be that there are windows.
Sure. I see. I understand.
And that what we want to be able to do eventually, obviously, is use the brain mapping. This would be, if we do this again and we want to do like the advanced version, then we can talk about how would you use the quantitative EEG brain mapping and heart rate variability as a bidirectional guidance system for the lights.
Oh, I see. So you're even directing where the light goes more.
And for how long, and at what intensity, and at what pulse rate, and all being driven in real time by the heart rate variability and the quantitative EEG.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. The science is just getting more and more advanced, I think, with red light therapy.
Can I share a screen?
Oh, yes, you can. Yes. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So what you're looking at is a graphic representation of the comparison of one individual's brain activity measured at 19 different locations.
Wow.
Simultaneously.
Yeah. Wow.
That information is then compared against the average of a group of people who were carefully screened and then mapped, who were within a year or two of that person's age, were the same gender, and were the same hand, left or right-handed. So now we can look at how this one individual's brain activity compares to the average of the group in the database.
I see. That's
so
incredible.
So the yellow and the orange and the blue are showing you how different from the norm, from the mean, right? So going toward red is going above the mean, and blue is going below the mean. And so you can see what parts of the brain are either responding normally or too little or too much.
Right. Yeah.
In addition, in the fourth row, you see all those red lines? So the red lines are actually connecting two spots. And what it's describing is the correlation between those two spots.
Okay.
So whenever you see a red line, it's telling you that the correlation between those two spots is too high. It's too much the same.
Oh, right.
If the lines were blue, it would be telling you that the relationship between those brain areas was too little, that they were disconnected.
Right.
So it's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, too much, too little, and just right. So when the correlations are just right, then there's no line at all.
Right. Okay.
So what we're seeing in this person is that there's a great deal of similarity, too much similarity between the left side and the right side, all those lines going across.
Okay.
And that person is having a great deal of difficulty being able to regulate their internal state of sensation, internal sensation. And they have a condition called akathisia, which is a very, very difficult condition to have because it's a constant internal irritation that makes it very, very hard to sleep or rest or relax or anything. It's like you're constantly agitated and on edge.
Oh.
So we've been working on decreasing that pattern of activity.
Yeah.
But because we can separate out.
I need to get you.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got you still in this screen. I need to get you back into your screen. How do I?
Yeah, let me stop sharing.
All right. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we can now stimulate at one frequency on the left and another frequency on the right. And that way we can stimulate that back and forth pattern and start to decrease the locked in, stuck pattern. And that will help decrease the overactive and overstimulating pattern that the person's experiencing. So we weren't able to do that in the first pattern.
Yeah. So
we weren't able to do that.
That's genuinely incredible. So in really simple terms, just so that lay people can really understand this. So is what you're saying is the light is helping to heal the cells at that biological and physiological level, and the biofeedback is helping to heal the connections that we've got going on between the 4 brain quadrants.
And we're talking about renormalizing the patterns of activity.
Yeah.
Because we know what normal looks like.
Yeah.
We can then compare against what that person's activity is, and then slowly reward the renormalizing of the activity while they're healing with the light.
Yes, incredible. That's so incredible. So in real terms as well, can you then explain if you're a Parkinson's patient, say, and you had you were struggling with, say, hand tremors or something like that, you couldn't hold a cup properly. How could this device perhaps work towards helping you with this condition, do you think?
Well, it would help to improve the quality of the communication between the different parts of the brain that are associated with motor control.
Yeah. That's great.
So because we're controlling motor activity, and there's a problem with that in Parkinson's, what we've also found is that the coherence, the red lines and the blue lines in that 4th row, every single person with Parkinson's that I've worked with so far has had a pattern of too much blue or disconnection in the back of their head.
Okay. Yeah.
And what we know that relates to is the decrease of the number of dopamine neurons in the substantia nigra, which is back here. So the more we can stop the destruction of those neurons by giving them the energy that they need to be able to resist whatever the damage is that's going on, the better. And also to give them more energy so that they can correct and heal, while also repatterning the brain activity back to as much of normal as we can get.
That's absolutely fantastic. Genuinely sounds promising. And this new device has been successfully used in a recent trial, hasn't it? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that trial?
The trial that we did in Baylor Scott and White Hospital in Temple, Texas, and at the Quiet Mind Clinic in Philadelphia, we used the Cognito-Lite, and we sent it home with people, and they put it on, plugged it in, pushed the button, and it did its thing of shining light into the brain for 6 minutes, twice a day, every day for 2 months.
Yeah.
And we measured with the EEG mapping, and we measured with neuropsychological testing, and we did all of that at the beginning, the middle, and the end of 2 months. And what we showed was that, in fact, there was a significant improvement in memory and overall cognitive functioning and behavioral functioning. But what was relevant to the people who who have Parkinson's, there was a subgroup of people among the ones from the cohort in Texas who were dually diagnosed with dementia and Parkinson's. That group reported, because we weren't measuring Parkinson's symptoms specifically, the caregivers and the subjects just of their own accord said, my memory got better, but I was walking better, I was talking better, I felt more energy, I was sleeping better, and I felt more like engaging with my family, and I could talk more, and I was getting along with everybody better. And we were like, whoa, okay, great. But they just independently reported that happening along with the memory measures, which is really what we were focused on for that particular study.
Yeah.
So we're very encouraged by that. And so we're gonna replicate that study. Is going to be replicated in the UK by Professor Paul Chazot. You mind if I do a commercial?
Please feel free to tell us.
Professor Paul Chazot at Durham University is going to be conducting a controlled clinical trial using the Cognito-Lite to replicate the results that we got in the US. He's going to be doing it out of Durham University in the UK. That's great. And we're very excited. It's going to be starting in September. So if people want more information, they should get in touch with me, and I'll put in touch with Professor Chazot. Are they still looking for volunteers, or have they got? Oh, they are actively looking. Okay, that's great. All right. Yeah, they haven't even started the program yet. Okay. They'll be starting it in September. Yeah. So better people, contact them now and get on the list. Yeah. Oh, that's great. And what I love about your organization is that, one, you're a non-profit organization, and two, you offer people a lot of support then with these devices. So can you tell us a little bit about the support that people can expect to get? Because what I end up saying to people is, this is not a hair dryer. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not selling you a hair dryer. So it's not just plug it in and you know what to do. No. You don't know what to do. So maybe we should have a couple of conversations, and collect a little data and really figure out what the heck are we supposed to do with this thing. Exactly. So yeah, we've made it so that when people buy the helmet, with the 4-quadrant capability, we automatically will provide 3 months of consultation. On a weekly, every other weekly basis, so that we are keenly aware of what it is that's going on, how you're using the device, making sure that, I'm putting this nicely, you don't get creative. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Because you know, again, it's not a toy, it's not a hair dryer.
Yeah.
People are spending a lot of money,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure that they're getting the best results possible. And what that really adds up to is, let's work together to figure out what you need, what's going to produce the best results. And then by doing it that way, each person will then understand how they can use the device ongoing.
Yeah, right.
For themselves, because they'll really understand what it does, what it doesn't do, and how they can use it for themselves.
Yeah.
How much is enough? How much is too much?
Yeah.
You know, and really have a very clear feeling for how they can make the best use of this device forever.
Yeah.
Because you know, this is really it's a vitamin.
Yeah.
It's not an antibiotic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's really great. It really sounds like it could genuinely improve the quality of life for someone's like day-to-day life.
Especially if they're using it properly.
Yeah, which obviously with that support, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I just can imagine that if you were suffering with something, you know, like the tremors or speech or something, you could then slowly start healing those brain cells with the light, but then also have that biofeedback, so you're healing up some of these connections, improving that, giving yourself good feedback when you do the movements better.
And one of the things that I think is important is to recognize that there really are three components to the process, and that the biofeedback and the photobiomodulation are critical components. The third part has to do with toxicity and the gut-brain connection, and making sure that people are making every effort to optimize their gut microbiome, making sure that they've eliminated as much toxicity from mold and heavy metals and God forbid Lyme disease and other kinds of, you know, bacterial and tick-borne infections. All of those kind of things are extremely important to evaluate, and then make sure that you're taking care of those, because that's really the foundational thing, right? That's the foundational source of the inflammation that's behind a lot of this. So that's really an important piece, to make sure that people are taking care to evaluate their gut microbiome and their overall functional health, and then incorporate the photobiomodulation to build the capacity for the brain and the body to maintain itself, as well as provide enough extra energy to heal. Then the neurofeedback to renormalize the connectivity that got messed up from the underlying infections and trauma of, you know, whatever the illness was. And so it's really a three-legged stool. One thing I did want to ask is, so viewers in Australia, how would they get hold of this device, and how would they get this sort of support? Well, there's a hospital, I think it's called Mater, M-A-T-E-R.
Yes, there is.
One of their senior research scientists is a Dr. Lasko. And Dr. Lasko and I are having a conversation about conducting some trials. And there's a company called Lifespan Dynamics, Michael Leiner. And Michael is going to be helping to distribute and make the technology available in all of Australia.
Oh, great. Oh, fantastic.
So we're going to be conducting some studies with Professor Lasko, and Michael is going to be helping with providing some of the coaching and the tech support and the sales.
Oh, that's
so
really...
I can provide people with that information on, just all they have to do is email me.
Fine. And I can also put some information in the description below this video. Yes. Oh, that's great. That's really positive for us here in Australia as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it'll be great.
Yeah, look, thank you so much for your time today then. Like this information is exciting, and I think it can really help people suffering with all sorts of neurodegenerative diseases, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's.
Right. Well, we should do this again sometime.
We absolutely should. It's so good to always talk to you, and keep us updated with the studies as well as they come along, so that we know latest research and how the information is being gathered, and just everything. It's just very positive.
Absolutely. Suvi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you. And you have a really good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.